Soul King Brook debuted on the 4th anniversary of One Piece Treasure Cruise Global on the 24th of February 2019. Coinciding with the One Piece anime and the Whole Cake Island hype, Brook debuts alongside Big Mom and her children to bring the unique mechanic of avoiding game over in the game, alongside a special ability that can provide various beneficial effects to suit almost every circumstance, whilst also enhancing the capabilities of his captain effect. Introducing Soul King Brook, Soul's special live performance. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and in this episode we're looking at the secondary part of the 4th anniversary of One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, and that character is Soul King Brook. Now, we went through all the rare recruits and Big Mom in the previous episodes. If you want to talk about or just see what they're all about, check out the previous episode, but today we're having a look at Brook just by himself. I'm expecting the gameplay portion of this video to be pretty long, but we'll see how things go. So Soul King Brook, the Soul's special live performance. A lot of people really wanted a Legend Brook, especially with how awesome Brook was during Whole Cake Island, and we finally got him. However, what we got was not what we were expecting, and I guess both in a good and a bad way. So let's go ahead and break him down. So he's a Dex unit, he's a slasher free spirit, so good class and type combination. His captain ability would boost the attack of all characters by 2x. 2.75 times instead if your HP is 99% or higher at the start of the turn. So this is already a pretty big problem, right? Because we already knew that, current meta captains were, around 3.5 to 4x in that range. So seeing a new legend release at a 2 times attack boost up to 2.75 only if you're at full HP was severely underwhelming. However, he does 10% health cut at the end of each turn to all enemies, and also revives the team after a game over once per adventure. So I feel like they really valued this effect, and I guess when you think about it, if you had an incredibly high multiplier that could basically clear all content with, and you also have a free gem revive on any piece of content, yeah, that's pretty powerful, right? So they value it pretty highly in the fact that they give him such a low multiplier. The 10% health cut is very much required though, because you have such a low multiplier, you're not going to be at full HP all the time. The way that people would mainly use this character is kind of in a defensive, stally manner, where you would wait multiple different turns, wait for these health cuts, or tap timing bonus damage, or toxic, or other types of damage dealing abilities to accumulate over time, and then you would beat the enemy in that fashion. So the captain ability is interesting, and the fact that you could revive once per adventure, this mechanic is kind of nuts to think about, right? Because if you're inflicted with a 99 turn debuff, what happens is when you get knocked out and you revive, it removes all debuffs, puts you back to full HP, and starts the turn. So that's really powerful in that if you have to deal with these really stupid mechanics, you can use his revive to get around them, which is what people were able to do during co-op Kizuna clashes, kind of predating Super Boss Kizunas, where you're inflicted with these nasty debuffs, Brook revives, and then you can just use damage dealing specials because normal attacks only wasn't being reapplied. So that's kind of interesting with Brook. But let's talk about his special ability. So his special does a lot of different things. You got a 14,343 HP recovery. I believe the 4 and the 3 is significant for Brook in some capacity. I'm not 100% sure why. It also does a 90% damage reduction for 1 turn, makes all type slots beneficial to all characters for 2 turns, and then if your HP, or if the HP of the enemy with the highest HP on the field is below 434,300, instantly defeats all enemies. Otherwise, you get a 1 turn delay and a 20% health cut to all enemies. So there's lots of really interesting mechanics here. The damage reduction, the healing, matching slots, and then you've got a kind of cool mechanic where if you're up against a lot of like lower tier mobs, you can instantly defeat them with his special, but otherwise you're still able to get a delay and or a health cut. So yeah, he's an interesting unit, but obviously didn't see a lot of play, only really saw some play on very niche circumstances. This is not a character that saw a lot of play all the time. It was a very, very weird use case kind of character, but there were definitely some people in the community that took a shine to this character, dedicated, you know, YouTube channels and a whole YouTube series in order to use him to beat content, which is cool, and he can definitely beat a lot of content because he does boost all characters. So you can synergize him with some other characters depending on what type of content you're going up against. But that is the rundown of Brook. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and let's go ahead now and jump into the content where we can put this revive mechanic into really good use. So we're in game now with the Soul King Brook, Straw Hat Pirate's musician, seeking Big Mom's Road Poneglyph. He infiltrates Whole Cake Island Chateau's treasure repository. He fends off the approaching chess peacekeepers and shows the difference between their souls. So a really hyped up character in terms of, like, people wanted to see a Legend Brook at some point in the game. And honestly, for what we got, he's interesting and has some very unique mechanics that only this character can get access to. But saying that, even though this character is really unique, he's not very useful in a lot of cases. There were definitely a lot of circumstances back in the day where this character was almost required to beat certain things, like the first iterations of a super boss Kizuna. This character was fantastic for, and there were definitely some very difficult pieces of content, such as certain arenas or coliseums back then, or even training forests that people would opt to use Brook for, just to avoid certain debuffs, because when he does revive, it does remove any debuff that's on your team. So if you've got a debuff that lasts for 99 turns, you can kill yourself with Brook, revive, and then remove that debuff completely. So there's really cool ways that you can abuse this guy. Now today we have a pretty weird looking team, but this team is going to enable us to clear a pretty difficult coliseum, and that's going to be Katakuri. That's what we're going to be taking on today. So we have a Whole Cake Island theme with Brook versus Katakuri, which is kind of interesting. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. We've got Magellan, we've got Treasure Map Shanks, we've got Rare Recruit Evenkov, and then we've also got the Ambush Garp, which is a very, very cool character. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Using Brook as our captains, I'm not really a big fan of these types of episodes where we have to use like relatively bulky, stally, defensive focused characters. They're never really fun. I've never found them fun to use. I know some people love it and love these playstyles, but I ain't one of those people, right? Now, we are going to go ahead and just we got to get our stall, right? We got to get our stall on. And of course, we do have the HP cut at the end of every single turn, which is part of the reason why Brook is actually able to clear content in the first place. Without that health cut, I really don't know what this guy would have been able to do in terms of clearing content. But anyways, we're just going to go ahead and clear these mobs out. We can actually consume that recovery slot. We probably should have, but I don't think it's going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Getting our specials ready to go, you know, we do need a couple of cooldowns ready to go. We do need Shanks. He's going to be the first special we launch first, which is ready to go. But there is going to be special reverse that we have to deal with on stage 4. So ensuring that our specials are ready to go when we need them is pretty vital, right? So next stage, we have this one here. This does not look super good for us. Those characters on the 1-turn cooldown we definitely want to deal with. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. There is that other tree on a 1-turn cooldown, which I don't know why I ignored that, but he's still on a 1-turn cooldown. So what does he actually do? Does a bit of damage, and do they do anything? They do slot change, right? Yeah, mischievous slot change. So they do... Okay, so you get some bomb slots. And some block slots. Okay, we want to make sure the Larpins don't hit us, so we're going to make sure that we take down those guys. Okay. And then the tree. Didn't take down the tree. It was really close, though. And he doesn't do any more slot change. Okay, let's move on. So far, obviously, just getting through the mob stages, that's one thing. Now we get to the mini-bosses, okay? So the first boss that we have is Strusen here. Now, Strusen's interesting in the fact that he does actually give us a full board of recovery slots, which is good. However, he treats them as badly matching, and he locks them for quite a few turns. But also, our recovery is also reduced. So even though we have all these recovery slots and we can use them and consume them to get some HP back, we actually don't get that much back. You know, 260 recovery, almost 270 recovery per recovery slot is pretty bad. I'm pretty sure it's like a 90% cut of your recovery, which is obviously not good. So we're just going to take the time here to wait until all these debuffs are gone specifically. And also remember that the first few turns of Brook's health cut are the most important, because the health cuts, you cut off more HP the higher the enemy's HP is. So, you know, it's simple math, right? So we're taking this time here just to stall off this particular debuff. Go ahead and cut the enemy's HP. So that's going to be going ahead now. That's gone. And now we can go ahead and use Shanks' special. So Shanks is going to go ahead and give us a high chance of matching slots for 1 turn. He also will shuffle our slots, and he adds tap timing bonus damage. Tap timing bonus damage nowadays is really not that important. But before the meta of like V1 Kaido and Bullet, and before normal attacks only was out, characters with tap timing bonus damage were incredibly valuable. Characters like Raid Sabo and this guy right here. Adding that tap timing bonus damage was so cool for specifically these defensive teams to clear content. So with this, it actually gives us decent damage output, like not heaps obviously compared to what you would normally see, but for what Brook is able to do, like we almost took out half of his HP just by using that Shanks special, which is so good. And the good thing about Shanks is he has double special, and because that buff of giving a higher chance of matching slots lasts for 1 turn, it means when you conclude that turn and you move into the next turn, it will conclude, allowing you to get more matching slots for that next turn as well. So it's pretty cool. From here we can just go ahead and move on. Hopefully getting the kill. Hopefully. There we go. Beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Alright, so now we have Flampe. Yeah, this stage sucks. I remember when this Coliseum first came out, this was one of the most troublesome stages of all. You got Paralysis, you got Special Reverse, and you have these stupid mobs that have high defense. Just a very annoying stage. We're going to go ahead and use Magellan here. Magellan's really cool, and by the way, my Magellan, while level limit break is out, this Magellan here does not have level 5, a level limit break, so he doesn't actually have the special buff, so of course we're keeping it as real as we can. So this is going to be really nice, because this poison, or this toxic, will last over 99 turns, obviously. It lasts for a long time, and it means that when it gets to a point when she starts summoning these mobs back, they're going to instantly die due to poison, which is fantastic. We're also going to use Brook's special here as well. So Brook's special is really cool. He does a lot of different things actually, but you know, he's not really the best. Even on release, like, he was fine. He saw a little bit of play as a crewmate, but obviously there were very niche circumstances for him as a captain because of the revive mechanic. So more importantly, it's mainly just about getting that damage reduction and also providing the health cut. So from here, we're just going to go ahead and just do some normal taps towards Flampe. We want to make sure that she goes down as quickly as we can. Ivankov finishing that attack, actually doing a decent amount of damage, all things considered. But basically from here, now that that's activated, we're just going to be using Magellan's Toxic to secure victory for us. We can definitely just do more attacks as well, just to make sure that we're doing a little bit more damage than usual, to ensure that when we get to that point near the end, that the Toxic does take her down. So it's cool, we get the end of turn health cuts from both Brook captains, and the Toxic will slowly build over time. So what's Flampe going to do now? Here we go, is one more. So, okay, so it does the reverse of the preemptive, where the other side gets paralyzed and then the other side gets special reverse. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense why everything is in this right position, but oh man, this stage is so annoying. But Brook does make it easy, all things considered, though, because we can just pass our way through here. And yeah, obviously the paralysis does kind of hurt, but the end of turn damage from health cuts and the Toxic is going to enable us to secure victory. So at this point here, what's she going to do? You tick me off, come my followers. Yeah, so this is where she summons the mobs back. This is where the Toxic comes in, where even though this is a pretty threatening looking turn, we can just pass the turn here and it should kill them all. And there it is. You absolutely love to see it. And the paralysis is expired, so it works out perfectly. So Katakuri, yeah, this guy is a beast. This guy was so annoying. Depending on what type your captain is, he does like different things, right? So because we have a Dex captain, he's going to have he's going to turn into a red character. So normally you want to bring quick characters for that. But then he has a damage immunity shield against characters that have the blue typing. So he makes it in such a way where you actually can't do super effective damage against him, which is kind of cool as a fight in general. Like the concept of building this fight is really, really cool. But honestly, it is what it is. Now, honestly, from here, all we're going to be doing is just passing these turns. We want Katakuri to kill us. We want to make sure we can revive, because you can see Brook does have that ability to revive. But you see that our Captain Brook is despaired. So this is one of the big drawbacks of Brook, is if you're in this situation where you're despaired, yeah, you're kind of screwed, right? Because we can't use our Brook to revive. So that does kind of suck for us, but it's also kind of a good thing because we have the friend Captain Brook that can do it. So we will go ahead and take our time and then remove all of these debuffs after we will fall. And once that occurs, we're going to have the friend Captain revive us. And from there, we just go ahead and do it all again, right? So Brook, I like how he has this really cool animation that only he specifically has for reviving. Connects his head back to his body. I can imagine Katakuri just thinking, God damn, this motherfucker. Alright, so now when we revive, we can see that our Captain Brook does have the revive left on him, but he does go ahead and bind us for a bunch of turns. Now, normally if you're in this situation, you're just gonna straight up lose. There's not a lot that you can do about this. So we're just gonna let the game play automatically. There's literally nothing we can do. But luckily we do have the Brook revive. And once again, he's going to revive back again, connecting his head back to his body. And now we can actually start doing stuff. Oh my god, this guy, man. So, the Soul King gets rid of the bind. We get the full heal. We're looking good. So now, we can start actually doing things, right? So, let's go ahead and use the big health cuts from Brook's Captain ability. But this is where we have to be careful, because Katakuri does do a lot of damage. So let's go ahead and use the Shank special once again, which is going to enable us to do some tap timing bonus damage. And look, Katakuri has a lot of HP, so you know that does kind of suck. He's going to tank this pretty well, but it is damage nonetheless. Okay, and then the up. So he's around half HP now. The cuts bring him below 50%. So our health is looking a little scary right now, but we're going to use the Ivankov special. This Ivankov is still one of the best rare recruits that ever been created. Removing poison, 2 turns of damage reduction, and 2 turns of healing. Extremely powerful. And now from here, we can just do normal attacks every single turn. And look, the normal attacks we're doing is basically nothing, but it's better than no damage at all, right? It does make it a little bit safer that we're doing a bit of extra damage here, because if we don't do damage, sometimes we might not get to the right health threshold. Because what we're aiming to do here is to kill Katakuri with the special ability of Garp, because Garp does say if the enemy's HP is 25% or less, it immediately defeats them. So this is what we're aiming to do here. Because of the Brook health cuts every single turn, we're doing this little bit of damage every single turn. After a certain amount of time, these health cuts are going to bring him low enough so that the Garp special will activate. Now, let me have a look at what we've got right now. How close is that HP bar? That looks around 25%, but I think I'm going to pass the turn here. Tank one more hit. Oh, he's at below 20%. I can't remember if he actually did anything. I'm pretty sure we're good. Yeah, we're good. So, because he's now nilled down, he's under 20%, we can conclude it right here, right now. Because the thing is if you use a special that is a damage dealing special, he does react to it, which is why we're not using the Brook specials there. And there we go. There is the Katakuri defeated with the Brook captains. Not something that you do every single day, but of course we wanted to show off what Brook was capable of doing, and this was a great way to do it, as we get to see the revive animation twice to get around 2 different sets of pretty nasty debuffs, and then we can just coast our way to victory with health cuts, which is awesome. So pretty awesome way to beat content. So, with all that being said, it's going to wrap it up from me with Soul King Brook, but looking forward to next week. We're going to be covering the final new character to release with the 4th anniversary of One Piece Treasure Cruise Global, which was Quick Whitebeard, a global first character that brought some really powerful stuff into the game, and I think was definitely the highlight of that 4th anniversary. So I'm actually really looking forward to next week. Quick Whitebeard's an amazing character. Even today, with all things, you know, added onto that unit, he is very powerful, and he has a good support effect too. But that's going to wrap it up from me. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.